Very nearly about sailing, September 2023.
Can I do it?
It's happening now. We don't do retakes. Lucy, I've cut my head off a little bit. This is going on.
Maybe we do
I have my apprentice back. She wanted to do the magic of making the things, the titles come out, but they've probably gone by now. So anyway, Lucy hasn't been here for ages because, and you will have seen that the new Little Mermaid film is out, she's been busy being a mermaid.
Harder on land.
You know that I'll have just inserted a clip of you actually being a mermaid.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, so Ariel, Lucy, we've got the camera crooked here. So right, the task for this video is really useful that she's here because this bench that's behind us on trestles is, we're actually going to make it into a workbench. I nicked most of the principles of this from the wonderful YouTube channel Proper DIY, but this is a lot smaller, a lot simpler and slightly more different. So I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail about how we're going to do it, because we haven't done it yet, have we? Cut 3 pieces of wood.
Oh no.
What? We haven't made a bench yet, have we?
Oh, I thought you said we haven't cut the 3 pieces of wood.
We have cut. There's a bit more to it than cutting 3 pieces of wood.
Oh.
Apart from anything else, it has 4 legs. So yeah, if you want to know how to actually do it, watch the Proper DIY. Anyway, should we just get on with this? We're not doing retakes.
Oh no.
So we didn't cut the circular saw bit. Basically, 4 bits this long, 4 bits 2x42 feet at 65, and then this has got a little notch in it so that, and I'll do a close-up of this in a second, I'll do a close-up of it now. One of these rests on here. I've already glued on a piece of 25mm ply 2x4s all the way around the edge and glued them. So this is only 2 foot by 4 foot, so it's quite small. That goes there, and then this goes kind of half on, half off, so it's a little bit on the table. On the Proper DIY one, you'll notice if you watch that video, he actually makes his a little bit shorter there because he wants to be able to at some point take the top off. I'm not really bothered about that. So just need to make 4 of these. The reason there's a gap up here, the why this isn't full length, is because this is where one of the cross members goes. It goes across here along the back, another one goes across here along the side, and then there is room for the rest of the leg, just a short bit up here. So it's like kind of doing mortise and tenons without needing to do mortise and tenons. Great for people who are not totally accurate yet. Right, Lucy is going to do some gluing.
Yay! Finally!
Which I've never let her do before.
How long have you been doing this channel?
2 million years. Got A&E on speed dial.
You're not going to do a video close-up of my gluing technique? Oh goodness. I wasn't expecting that.
A bit more than that. Oh no, that's sorry, that's I was looking at the thin bit. You might need a bit more than that. Perhaps put these zigzags close together.
No, you told me to do that. Like that.
Yeah.
Is that good? More zig?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's fine. That should be alright.
I can
Right,
put that where it
brilliant.
won't drip on something.
That's perfect. You can get the whole of it like that. That's absolutely perfect. I think. Because I have to pretend I know what I'm doing, and I don't.
Oh no, you don't.
You don't have to be as meticulous.
First time I'm using glue, it's got to be perfect.
And well done for stopping at the line.
I'd say this is not my first rodeo, but this really, really is my first rodeo. Ah.
What's that from?
No. So saying. ¿Está bien?
Squidge it into these sides a little bit more. I mean, we're going to get a bit of squeeze out.
It's very wonky donkey.
It's very wonky donkey. That problem thing is that that's into the corner there. Actually, that's straight that way. That's not straight. No. Can you? No, hold it. Hold it. Your job is to hold it in place. So that it's upright. That's it. It's never going to be perfect, is it? But that's. Put this together. I'm going to be annoying now from around that side.
I thought you were just going to leave.
Yeah. Can you hold that for the next 3 hours? Let's put the clamps in first and then screw around that. Check that it hasn't moved. Because the trouble is, as you squidge it in,
Maybe put the other clamp on from where I am, as in this side.
keep it out.
I need to be holding it still.
Oh, careful.
Father. I full named you.
You full named me. Not Cinder. I full named you too. That's not bad, is it?
No.
Should that be a little bit more? I think that should be a little bit more.
I hated that noise.
Did you? You're going to get to hate it a few more times then.
Lucky you.
This is really just to assist the gluing.
Blech.
Let's just lean this up here randomly. So we've done A. No, that was B. That's B. I've actually labelled it wrong. The very first thing I've done is that's what we did, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you change that into a B? It's important to label your work correctly.
Yes.
Not quite sure why. Anyway, right, switch the video camera off and don't know where the thing is. Oh, it's there. Can you press
Oh,
the
I've got
button?
the power! Do I press stop?
Stop.
Alright.
Point to the thing. Right, I've lost my little helper, my apprentice, unfortunately. I made the mistake. I gave her the chocolate at the end of yesterday, and so she grabbed the chocolate and scarpered. Slight change of plan, in as much as one of the things that I probably should have done at the beginning, and I kind of decided not to, with this CLS timber, which is Canadian lumber standard timber, there are kind of little roundovers on the edge, which are quite nice. If you're building a house or something and you're putting these up, that's quite nice not to have it jagging on your hand. Now, what I should have done was to actually cut these all off square at the beginning before I started to do things. But I thought, oh, that'll be all right. I don't mind. I don't mind if there's a line down this. And I thought, actually, do you know what I did? That's going to work for me. So what I'm doing, and I've done it on this side already, is I'm actually squaring them off now. So I've got to go through and square all of these off, all of the wood. I'm squaring it all off. Right, so it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than having rounded edge. So I've now got that relative square. I suppose what I should do is do the other edges as well, but you know what, there is a limit, and it started raining, so thankfully I can work indoors because I've sorted all this stuff out. Right, so this is the bench upside down. this is the long stringer at the front. I've put the ones in on the side, they're just screwed in, they're not glued yet. So as you can see, this is that extra bit that I put for the bottom, because as I say, it's upside down. So I cut this groove out. That accommodates the side stringer, which, as I say, I've screwed in, and then the long stringer fits very neatly. And I have cut this, so I'm not cheating, but I basically I measured it against the thing, and it's not perfect, but this is learning. Squidge that one in on that side a bit more. Right, this is the strangest clamping system ever, simply because it's using all of the clamps that I've got. So I've clamped it and screwed it, sort of wiggled it about a bit whilst I was clamping it to make sure that these angles are all at 90 degrees. Right, I didn't count those clamps, but it's not going to fall apart. So. Right, so that's pretty much spot on. That's pretty much spot on. Wow, that's pretty much spot on. That's not quite so spot on, but only by a tiny little bit. That's definitely close enough, and that is solid. Let's take this off and have a look at it the right way up. I've not seen it the right way up yet. Right, before I just put the top on, just in case it wasn't clear, because I don't think it was when I was videoing it. This sort of L-shaped bit that fits on the frame for the top, and this then pokes up into the side. So gluing this up, this is going to be very strong. Again, let's actually put the top on and see what it looks like as a bench. Right, it needs a bit of finessing. I'm going to do some chamfering, some rounding of the legs and so on. This is a solid rock. Obviously it's a smaller worktop, but I guess everybody needs a particularly different, and I'm really seeing it as a giant router table. I'm going to hopefully put the router in, sticking out of there. Probably put some Formica, simply because I think I've got some on the top. So as I say, some of the joints aren't absolutely perfect. If you look at this, you can see sort of black lines around there, but you can see how strong it is, because this is it a lap joint? I don't know. It's like a half 10, I don't know what it's called. That kind of half goes into there, that half goes into there. There's loads of surface area and loads of glue around that, and it all fits nicely tight together, so I had to sort of tap it lightly with a hammer. So although it's not perfect, it's good practice. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about different ways of actually joining stuff together to put the fridge and the galley and stuff. I'm going to have to design it. I haven't really thought about that. It's not just doing it, I'm going to need to design it. Alright, I'm getting even further into unknown territory here. One of the main things I want this table to do, it's not a table, it's a workbench, is to become a router table. I'll call it a table now. It's a router table, but it's a workbench. Fair enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this router, which I bought. This was actually I bought this years ago. This was one of those Aldi or little middle aisle things. I think it was about £30. I went and I bought it, and then I bought the bits, which were about another 15 or another £30 or something, and it's been brilliant ever since. It's just been absolutely perfect. But I want it to go underneath this bench and stick up from the bottom, so I can route things on the top. And there are millions of videos on YouTube about how to do this. I happen to have some G10 spare. I've got 2 sheets of this. G10 is like sandwiched fiberglass, many, you probably can't see them, many layers of fiberglass, and it is as tough as anything. So, is it going to fit? Oh, yeah, that could have been worse. There's more or less. Anyway, I think it's going to fit. I think it's going to fit. Oh, it fits. Surprisingly straightforward. As they say, you can never have too many clamps, and I really don't have too many clamps. Certainly don't have enough clamps. And somehow I've managed to get some on the back, and I've got no idea how I've done that, because that was on a clean piece of board. But hey ho, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Middle first. And I thought I had a bigger one of those. That's one of those pressy down things, and I don't have a bigger one of those. Look at that, there's a little crack in here that you could probably hardly see, and it actually gets as far as the edge, if not a little bit into it. That's how tight it was to get this done. And then there's another crack that comes along here likewise, and pure luck that I had enough. Mind you, if I hadn't had enough, I would have probably gone for my preference, which was to get some grey, but I think the white will be alright. And look, and it's quite wide there because the way that it ripped. What I'm partly relying on is the fact that because I painted it white, if this cuts into the white paint, then I'm going a little bit too far, and I'm going about 1/10 of a millimetre too far here. Right, far from ideal. This is the first fit, and I've trimmed off the sand the edges down a little bit. Sorry, get prepared before you press the record button. It's certainly snug. No. That, to be honest, will need a bit of finessing. It's sticking up a little bit there. Bit of white paint to sort it out, but that's all right. There's quite an edge there actually. Make a template, make a template, make a template. There are 1,000,001 ways of doing this, 1,000,002 if you count the way I did it, and that's not a way to do it. But I can tidy that up, and that's not bad. But you can tell I'm not happy with this, can't you? I will make that smarter, but not now and not in this video. So there we go. It's sort of finished. I mean, there's loads more stuff to do with it. Is it the world's best workbench? Well, yes and no. No, because obviously there are better ones that can do a lot more, but it's exactly what I wanted, and this is the point, I think, if you're doing a workbench. It's got to be exactly what you want. This is only 2 foot by 4 foot, which is quite small, but it fits perfectly down this end of my workshop. I can turn around to this side, and I've got a little work sort of station where I can put bits and pieces. That will all fold away. I've got the trestles just opposite me, and I can put the tables out. You saw when I was putting the Formica on. This is a small space, but it's very, very configurable. and everything packs away to within 2 feet of the edges. I'll do a full workshop tour in many years, but many years. Careful what you say, Paul, in a few months' time or whatever. I'm very happy with this. Need to do the router table bit. Let's just do a few things that went wrong and a few things that went right. One of the things that went right is I actually planned this and did a cutting list, so I ended up with just that amount of 2x4 spare. This, believe it or not, is a plan, and it's drawn out the old-fashioned way. This is how I was taught at school, where you have the top view, the side view, the front view. I used to put a 3D drawing there, but I've actually done a proper cutting list, and it's basically 6 2x4s, 2.4 metres each, a sheet of 25mm plywood, 2 foot by 4 foot, and then another sheet of, I can't remember what I used, something thin like 5, 10, 9mm I think it was, I can't remember, of plywood for the shelf bit at the bottom, and that was it. And I've actually drawn out properly where the different joints and so on go, and that helps enormously just doing that. I mean, basic, I'm sure you all do this, but I've only just started doing it. Another thing that went right was the general build of it was absolutely fine, and as I say, I kind of based it on the Stuart Matthews design on his channel. I'll put a link below, where he made a much bigger one but similar sort of principles. Another very good workbench is Tamar from 3x3 Custom Tamar. She's not quite through at the point of doing this. She hasn't finished it, she hasn't put a top on. She's doing a workbench that's kind of half assembly area, which a lot of this is, and then a half sort of glue-up-y type workbench area, which is completely unique. But she's done a fairly similar thing to the way she's put it together. And if you want an absolute Rolls-Royce woodworking one, then I don't think you can do any better than the Paul Sellers one. He's done about 3 different versions. My favourite is the one where he does it all with hand tools, but there is also one that he does also with hand tools, but with plywood. So it depends what you're looking for. I've rounded over all the edges to make it safe. I haven't rounded off this bit here because I'm going to fit oh crikey, this is heavy. I'm going to fit this. £20, absolute bargain from eBay. It works, but it needs cleaning up. I am going to put a vise here, and there's also capacity to put a metalworking vise. The other thing I can do with this is I've got different surfaces I can put at the top. So this is sort of shiny. When I take this out, turn it into a router table, this will be great for routing. I've got a sort of a very rough board that I can put on top if I'm doing sort of engine work and so on, which I want to do. I've got something with a small engine that I want to do on it. And if I'm doing woodwork, I can put a bit of wood on it that can get wrecked. So very, very configurable. Space underneath. I put a shelf on to keep tools and stuff on it. What could have gone better? I should have prepared my wood properly from the start. I assumed because I was using CLS 2B4B2Bs, and if you don't understand what 2B4B2B is, you need to look at old versions of the Fast show. These are not particularly square, for example, and I should have cut them all. I should have got my stock sorted out from the beginning rather than deciding halfway through. There's a lot of warp in this, even in this little bit. I can see that's completely bowed. I assumed they'd be all right. You know, I've bought wood that's been prepared before now, and it's been absolutely 100% 90 degrees everywhere. So prepare your stock first. Be a lot more careful from that point of view. The other thing about 90 degrees is something I'm quite disappointed with my table saw. I have an Evolution Rage 5S table saw which folds up really nicely into the corner. Again, it fits that sort of 2 foot rule from the edge that I'm talking about, and it's got a mitre gauge thing on it. This, when you put it in, wiggles from side to side by over a degree, and it rocks from side to side. It's like being on a boat, to be quite honest. Now, I'm not saying it's awful. What I am saying is that a drunk giraffe on a roller coaster with a rusty hacksaw blade would do a better job. It really seriously disappointed in that. So I am going to, and you see this with people with table saws, they make these sleds, they make these cross-cut sleds. I'm going to have to do that to get accuracy, because we're not far away. We're a couple of projects away from restarting doing the galley in the boat, and I couldn't do it with this. It's just absolutely, although I think the core bit, I'm going to modify that, I'm going to do something with that. But this is all a learning experience. This has turned into a real woodworking channel this year, hasn't it? That wasn't the intention, but I've got a lot of woodwork to do. I will need to do a bit more before I get on to doing the galley, and the galley covers quite a big area of the boat. And then finally onto cutting the HDPE and welding it up. It really is the accuracy of the cutting and so on which is key. I think I've got most of the tools now. I've now got my workbench. Very, very happy with that. That's gonna get a lot of use. And the stool which I'm using all the time, is very useful. And you can see I've chosen the cool colours of grey and wood colour, whatever wood colour is. Yeah, can't wait to get cracking on an early project with this. Need to put the vise on, need to get the router sorted out, and then I'll do a couple of small projects, and then on with the galley. Right, anyway, that's enough of me warbling on. Have a go, do it, have a go at this stuff. I didn't do woodworking at all, as you know, since before the beginning of this year. I've done loads of projects, slowly getting more skills, slowly getting better, slowly realising what to do, what not to do. So have a go, let me know how you get on. Right, see you next month.